Hello and welcome back to Aston Martin and F1 Manager 2022. Here we are, approaching the halfway point of 2023. We're on race number 10, Silverstone, Aston Martin's home race, technically, and we've brought a Frenchman and a German to the party. It does seem slightly heretic, but yeah. If you've not watched the last race though, which was exceptional, the link will be in the description below, along with the link to the entire playlist to get you caught all the way up if you're just joining me now, somehow. Currently fourth in the Constructors' Championship, only 2 points behind Mercedes, somehow. I don't know how I don't know. Quite frankly, I don't know. But we do have a new front wing coming before Britain, which I wasn't aware of until I clicked stream. In fact, even on low speed we've fallen in. Looking at this, low speed we're down to 7th, so it's the 4th best in that respect. How has our high speed gone up? How have our high and medium speeds gone up when I haven't put anything on the car? That might change things. So we need to manufacture the front wing, the new front wing. It's 3 days to the Grand Prix, so we can just do 1 on normal. I feel like doing 4 just on emergency. So the new front wing is going to provide marginal gains across the board. And yeah, effectively just bring our standings up by 1 place in every single factor, actually, apart from engine cooling. I'm going to get them to build 2 normally. 1 will arrive in time for the race and 1 will arrive after the race. But I'm hoping we're not going to burn through 3 extra wings in 1 weekend. Fingers crossed. Fastest lap is the mandatory incentive this week. Of course, there's a new qualifying streak. 12th for both drivers. Oh, well, that's not going to work. And it's 1 driver in the top 12 is the actual race streak I put in. I did think it was 14th, actually. So what follows this? Oh, Austria okay, so it's Austria, then France. I feel like we take the penalties in Red Bull. Pierre Gasly's going to need to take penalties relatively soon. I'm feeling like I should do it in Austria. Because I don't want to risk it for this race, because it's the beginning of at the end of a multi-race incentive cycle. But anyway, I'll see you for qualifying. So another rain-filled set of practices, but I did prioritize acclimatization over the setup, and it did allow me to get both of them in the end, because we did find the setup solved within 2 or 3. So yeah, running them long in wet periods, rather than just keep bringing them back in and out to change the tyres, it's worked out. 100% in the end. A dry practice 3 did help too. Not 100% on the car parts, but we don't need that. 15 out of 15 will do us. And the fact there's no light rain in practice 3 has me concerned for qualifying. Dry to begin with. It's a wet end, which actually might not be sensible sending our cars out immediately, but never mind.
We are expecting rain.
There's not enough time to get them back out again before the rain comes, so we just have to basically hope that not everyone does a lap before that rain comes in. Doohan's done a really slow lap. I don't know what happened there. Okay, so the rain is still yet to come, but there are a significant number of people still behind Mick Schumacher, including Bottas, Ocon, somehow. Stroll's an absolute shocker. Leclerc's locked up into turn 14, and there's the rain. I can just see the raindrops coming down. So actually, Leclerc could be in a... Oh, God. There's a very good chance one of the Ferraris does not make it. If Tsunoda's already on a flying lap, they could be in a spot of bother because he's only had a portion of his lap interfered with by rain. And in fact, he has. The Ferraris are in a big bit... Tsunoda actually did a faster lap than 3 people despite having part of his lap in rain. The McLarens, one of them's on a... Ricciardo's on a flying lap, clearly, because he's just gone past that Alpine on an in-lap, I would imagine. Not certain Norris is on a flying lap yet, and the Ferraris, we know, have only just started theirs. And I think the Ferraris might be on top of each other as well. Yeah, Ricciardo 16th. The rain has affected him. Yeah, the Ferraris have had so many problems. They're on the flying lap in their rain. They've had to get through this traffic, and they've been on top of each other the entire lap. Ferrari's only hope is if it dries out again, which it might do, or it's kind of just hovering in the intermediate range. Oh, no, it's getting worse again. Oh, no, it's sort of hovering in that 1.4 to 1.6 millimeters. Gasly 5th, Mick 7th, unless it dries out. At the very least, everyone's gone out on intermediates. So if it does dry out, they're on the wrong tyres. I say the Ferraris are out. I do wonder if Stroll's weirdly slow time in general is actually catchable on intermediates. Are intermediates within 3 seconds? But I'm not sending my guys out again. No need. It's staying... If it stays intermediate, then it's slower anyway. If it goes dry, then it's the wrong tyres regardless. The McLaren's first across the line as well will give us some indication. Ooh. No is the answer, basically. So unless Magnussen does a weirdly good time, but one better than Ricciardo, he doesn't. So both Ferraris out. Ricciardo with a penalty 16th. Both McLaren's out. And Magnussen, he's had a good couple of qualifyings actually recently. Both Williams through. This session starts dry again. Might as well put them on the compound that we've already used. Right. Instantly, look at the weather. Get them out immediately. Get them out immediately. Quite frankly, it doesn't even matter if they get vaguely hindered. Just get them out. I think they've actually got a clean run as well. Because it might get wet, I'm going to have an outboard on Gasly for the remainder of this lap. Through Maggots and Beckett's, I want to say. of the Hangar Straight. That one I do know. Shit, I don't remember half of them. I do know that I know the name of most of the corners. I just forget which ones are which at Silverstone. I'm not that clued in, unfortunately. We're in the final few corners. Pierre Gasly, the first one to cross the line in this session. 2 minutes before it's about to get horrendous. 127 flat, almost. Mick on probably around a 125. 127.5. Russell goes faster than both, but quite frankly, the rain's about to start. So there it is. So Gasly and Mick just about get back in time before the rain is actually problematic, because they're not. Hopefully, they can't really crash here either with dry tyres on the in lap. And everyone else, apart from Russell, Ocon, Albon, and Stroll, are going to have to do a lap time with some level of wetness. Hamilton, the first one to have a compromised lap, about to cross the line. His last sector 3 pretty much was in the rain, and he goes slower than Stroll, which is great news for Mick, basically. Because everyone else now is probably going to do a slower lap, just because they've had more time in the rain. It's kind of a shame for the Williamses, because they will definitely go out now. In fact, it probably won't see any more casualties, just because there are effectively 4 spots. 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th for basically the 4 fastest out of those remaining 9 drivers to get into, which means, yeah, the 2 Williamses were probably 14, 15. Vettel probably out. Duran probably out. Although Max still hasn't done a time yet, and Duran and Vettel have gone 11 seconds slower. Tsunoda's gone 9th, actually. Verstappen could be a casualty here, but he's only just started his lap. Yeah, Zhou's time was 28 seconds slower. I mean, if Verstappen goes out on the right tyres, he could still possibly get through this session. But again, there's no point going out, because if it is the right tyres, then... It threatened to be dry again. But it's sort of stuck around the 1.5 mark, and they are an intermediate, so... I think Verstappen could get through. Because we kind of saw the intermediates in comparison to a Red Bull soft time in qualifying 1. You saw the intermediates' best time was effectively 4 seconds slower. And there we are, Alonso into 9th. Because bear in mind, the best time here is Russell, not a Red Bull this time. I'd be worried about Tsunoda. Bottas and Duran still slower. But I think Verstappen can still nick in there. He has. But I mean, neither of these cars... I mean, Vettel needed to go in then, but whichever Merkel that was didn't need to go again. Hamilton, because we're focusing on him. But both drivers through due to maximising on the weather. Slightly unfortunate that the bottom 5 kind of as expected. In that session, the 4 best cars did indeed get through in those remaining 4 spots. But Lance Stroll, a little bit of a surprise, obviously, into Q3. Mick, a bit of a surprise into Q3 too. Albon, a bit of a surprise. So those 3 other ones you kind of expect to actually be in Q3. Let's try to begin with again. We might as well use the ones that are actually given for Q3 to begin with, just in case it does get wet again during the session, and we only use 1 set.
Radio check, okay.
It's going to be dry throughout. But we can use 2 sets of fresh tyres to this session, and you will get a full on-board lap as well at the end of it, as I keep getting interrupted. I mean, you spun before you even started your main lap, so you might be all right here. Possibly lost a little bit of momentum through the final corner, but you should be all right for the most part. That just ruined the tyres, of course. He actually did the fastest first sector, so I think he might have been all right.
Like someone's locked up.
Oh, Gasly, has he spun on the actual main lap there? What happened? I mean, I think someone's been hindered there, because Gasly's done a really slow time. Honestly, I think only the top 6 have done normal times there. People are coming out already. Okay, there's the second of the Red Bulls. Probably Mick first in this situation. Actually, no, probably Gasly first, just so Mick can get the tow. Of course, there's no Ferraris to wait for, is there? Wait, why are we coming out with 3 minutes to go? Why has everyone gone early? I've been utterly bamboozled by the 3 that went super early there. There'll be enough time to do 2 laps here. But we'll get these guys round to the point where we'll start a lap. It's not the end of the world, the fact that they went early. Well, they won't quite have enough time to do 2 laps. Everyone went really early. I think even the last car across the line will still have a good solid 30, 40 seconds if they're on board with Pierre, who actually needs to do more here. I don't really understand what happened to A, Hamilton, or B, Gasly here. Mick being behind Stroll is slightly weird, because Mick was relatively competitive in practice 3 as well. Like, he was 11th overall in practice 3 at the end, so he should be able to do a better time than the one he did, and they're both done better first sectors. I'm expecting Stroll to be 10th, really, and Mick 9th. That's kind of what I'm expecting, or maybe Albon could be behind Mick too if he gets the good lap in. But Mick can be sort of within a second, and Gasly can be within 4 tenths. if practice is anything to go by. So GASLY did a properly shocking lap. I don't know what happened. There's still 20 seconds of this session left, and that last drive, the Alpine's gone through sector 1 already. Okay, better sector for GASLY as well. Up the hanger straight, round the right-hand corner, past the pit lane entry, through the final sector. As actually both Red Bulls are across the line already. Haven't had to deal with that yet. GASLY goes 4th. That's a more representative lap, 7/10 off the lead. That's probably still not his best, actually, but Mick does a much better lap too. About where he was in practice, about a second off the Red Bulls, into 6th. Albon doesn't improve. Stroll doesn't improve. Ocon must be the last one across the line. Hamilton's obviously yet to cross the line as well. Hamilton's going to do a much better time, goes 3rd himself. Pushes both of our drivers down 1, and Ocon pushes Mick down as well. But GASLY, Russell, Ocon, and Alonso in a very similar ballpark, it seems, come the race, which is going to be interesting with the Ferraris at the back as well. Yeah, this is not the race to change your engine parts. I don't think. We'll wait until next race with both our drivers in the top 8, and I think we'll save that one for next time. Yeah, a little bit of a shame because we know Pierre could do a 1:26.8, but that might just be track devolution due to the rain, because everyone's gone slower pretty much, except for Esteban Ocon. Dry race though. Medium, hard, medium, or just medium, hard. I mean, the 1-stop is doable. Apparently the 2-stop is faster. I suppose it's just because you can push the tyres harder. Honestly, I think what you should do, I mean, even Pierre can make that work, I think, is plan for the 1-stop for both drivers. Yeah, I think you just plan for the 1-stop for both drivers and get on with it. Basically, if there's any incidents, then we can come in early and adapt. But yeah, we can adapt to that 2-stop if we want. But I think we start with that one. Average lap time, about 3/10 faster between the compounds. So I can sort of see why 2 sets of medium would be faster, but that's wrong. Silverstone's pit lane is notoriously slow. It's about a 30-second time loss in real life, which is why you always try to do as least pit stops as possible in Silverstone. So I don't know if that's just an error in the game, or if they've genuinely just made, like, in terms of the information, or if it's an error in the actual sort of pit lane speed. Like, maybe they've just given it the uniform higher pit lane speed that you see elsewhere. The pit lane speed in Silverstone's a lot slower. I don't want to...
Anticipation is high, and the drivers are ready for this.
Oh no, they are there.
The British Grand Prix.
I've forgotten to change the driver options.
And it's lights out, and away we go.
Apologies for this. Oh, wrong way. Now it's away we go. Sorry, Crofty.
Okay.
I was about to say, it looked like Pierre had lined up 3rd on the grid, but... No, everyone was in the correct places. I think Mick's actually got Ocon immediately off the line, and Gasly's got... Verstappen? Verstappen's had a shocker. Did Verstappen had a penalty, I think. Because I think the Mercs lined up 2nd and 3rd. I think Max has taken an extra something.
And there they go, moving up a position.
And has had a 3-place grid penalty. And went from 1st to 4th. Because Perez is leading as well. Because I don't think he lost 3 places off the line. So he must have started 4th. Gasly's got him. Mick's on the outside of Alonso as well, behind. I can see him there. Still on the outside. Anyone on hards? Because there is a strategy that begins with hards. No, everyone started on mediums. But GASLY can absolutely take Russell. That is something we've noticed in previous races, so he's definitely got the pace on Russell. Oops, forgot to look at Mick's. Mick did the fastest first sector. So around the outside at Cops. Yeah. Where, of course, Hamilton and Verstappen had their coming together last year. And still side by side through maggots and buckets. But he has got him now at the end of the hanger straight by the looks of things. Can't push these tyres anymore. They're borderline at the end of it anyway, so... Much as I'd love to burn them for 3 laps, 3rd is still pretty good. GASLY's done the fastest lap. Mick actually did the fastest lap of anyone. Somehow. I don't understand how in this game someone other than the leader does the fastest lap off the first lap. Because it's just that inherent slowness. The 3rd and 6th going into this is pretty solid. From 5th and 8th, I think, so... 2 places gained by both drivers. The Ferrari's up to 14th and 15th already. The Williams has gone down. Oh, mind you, Tsunoda had a penalty. Tsunoda and Ricciardo had penalties, didn't they? Which means Ricciardo's has got the 2 Williamses anyway. Because they outqualified him. But I think the Ferraris may have benefited from being ahead of show to begin with, and then Tsunoda's penalty and Ricciardo's penalty. So actually I don't think the Ferraris have gained any places yet. Oh, they gained 1 apiece. Yuki Tsunoda still started 14th with the penalty. Yeah, both our drivers up 2 places. Valtteri Bottas is nicked 10th off his teammate. George struggling to keep... Oh, I'm still deploying. Bugger. Missed that.
DRS is enabled now.
DRS enabled now, and he's... Well, Russell's not in a train with the front 2 here, which is good news. And Mick, importantly, is sandwiched. Both Gasly and Hamilton with DRS on Perez going for a pincer movement. Gasly on the inside of Perez, going onto the old main start line. Actually puts him in the lead coming out of that corner. All sorts of carnage happened in that corner. Perez still had to yield there. I mean, if Perez has outright speed, he might get that back, but we're rewatching that because I still want to know what happened at the end of it. Because Perez is squeezed in the middle. Yeah, they basically just had to stop. So it seems like that issue isn't 100% fixed. I guess they fixed it. I guess they fixed it for like side for 2 drivers, but because it was 3, there was an extra level of, ooh, be careful. But Perez is now leading a train by himself, and it's just a whole pack behind. It's a train, or it's a one singular DRS train from Perez to Bottas. And if Perez is faster than Gasly, which he probably is, then this could easily just be an entire top 10 train. In fact, Doohan's cut the gap at 11th. So now he's just one train. Sonoda might have broken DRS in 17th, so it's one train from 2nd to 16th. Good God. The Gasly's just running around by himself at the front. 1.4 ahead. Hamilton... Didn't look like Hamilton made a move on Perez behind. No, he didn't. Mick holding on quite nicely in between the Merc of Russell and the Alpine of Ocon. Ocon having a look at Mick, unfortunately. Bit opportunistic from Ocon there, but considering how well he was holding on to Russell, that's kind of annoying because I don't know if Ocon's got the same pace. Well, I'm not going to push either driver, and Perez has got within DRS range of Gasly, but I don't think he got in DRS range by the start of that. He just happened to have got him on the straight. A lot of infighting behind. But I think there's 2 DRS zones. It's Hangar Straight and the one in Sector 1. Leclerc's up to 11th, I noticed. Slightly struggling in 15th still, though. But Perez has closed the gap again. And now it's just one DRS train to Doohan in 12th. Mick started 8th. He still gained a place. I don't really know how Ocon got that place, to be honest, because everyone's kind of doing the same pace. But Perez with DRS now is very much going to... In fact, it would be beneficial if he's ahead by the detection point. Does Gasly have DRS? No. That's a shame. Unfortunate that he was just marginally ahead. Another driver has locked up in Sector 3. It's a Ferrari, it's Sainz, he's had a shocker. Ricardo's got a penalty. Why has Ricardo got a penalty here? Because it very much looks like Sainz's fault, whatever this is. Unless it's Ricardo going into the back of Sainz here. Oh, it is. Yeah. Fair enough. From the mini-map, it looked like Sainz had an off and then came back into Ricardo. But that's fine, and no safety cars. The crashes aren't spectacular, really. Everyone just rolling around at the moment. Is Gasly on the inside of Hamilton? No, he isn't. I mean, Verstappen is faster than Gasly in outright pace, so this concerns me a bit. I'd happily take 3rd with Gasly, though. Everyone's got DRS on Perez here, so Hamilton takes the lead. The obligatory through goes Hamilton. But Hamilton will be the one defending on the next DRS zone, so... Yeah, I kind of get the feeling it's going to be largely status quo, and the front runners was changing places based on who doesn't have DRS. I am concerned by Mick maybe being dropped. But, oh, hang on. Something's happened elsewhere.
Oh, we've had a spin.
Perez has spun.
We can take a look now. We're just watching the Red
So,
Bull.
from 2nd, Perez has just gone round.
They lose it there.
Well, that's not great, because it was only one DRS train, so he's going to be at the back. 18th. Managed to start again before Sainz. The problem here, of course, is that Gasly was 1 full second behind Hamilton, so if he can't get caught up, because the car splitting the difference between Hamilton and Gasly obviously was Perez. so he no longer has that train. Although Russell has fallen a second outside of Verstappen by that point as well, so that could be good news behind. I mean, Verstappen's actually not positioned himself very well there. We could have done with Verstappen getting through and then splitting the gap again. But instead he's making it hard. And trying to pass there instead. It's fine, Pierre, don't worry about it. I kind of wanted that to happen because Verstappen is faster. And Verstappen can help you get past Hamilton, provided you don't take him back again immediately. It's great racing. But be behind by the detection point, for the love of God. You're not helping each other because you're not actually overtaking each other in DRS. It'll happen eventually. I mean, Verstappen, barest minimum, should be faster than Hamilton. So, yes, there we are. That's what we needed. We need the slingshot effect to cut the gap to Hamilton. Or you can just fight between yourselves behind. Ocon's in second. This is allowing Hamilton to get away. Stop putting the slower driver at the front. I mean, at least there's a big old gap, 12th, because that looks like it's going to be 2 trains. Mick kind of nicely holding form in 6th. But I am waiting for something to happen to Jack Doohan because the poor soul's not had a clean race yet, I don't think. Some of them his fault, some of them not. How is Verstappen not cutting the gap down? Just by himself. You'd think he'd be cutting the gap down by himself, but he just isn't. Leclerc slowly working his way through the field as well. Can't help but notice. And despite pushing the tyres at the very beginning, they're kind of on pace with everyone. Sainz broke his tyres clearly when he had his incident, and then didn't change them for some reason. Is Ricciardo driving around with a broken wing? No, just 30 seconds behind. He's doing comparable. Oh no. Oh, he's on hard tyres. That's why he's losing time. Why? Oh god, it's Leclerc behind as well. Nope, wrong way. Somehow that went from 2 times to 16 times in 1 click. Not fully certain. Okay, the first medium runners are pitting, so we're about to find out who's doing medium, hard, medium as a basic strategy. So Doohan's pitted. So they are kind of screwing him over with the 2-stop strategy. Mick. Okay, well that's slightly unfortunate. I don't really know how and when you got taken there, but you do now have Leclerc up your chuff, so how is Verstappen not catching up? I can't remember him having any incident that, damaged his car in any way that would make him slower than Hamilton. But I think that just the simple fact that he has to defend is slowing him down. It's just not allowing him to drive away. Even though he is legitimately, obviously faster. Mickey is 1.5 seconds behind Gasly 15 laps into the race. He's 4 seconds off the lead still.
I'm sorry about the spin. Yeah, good. Copy
Is
that.
Mick being penalised for that?
There's contact. Chaos on the track. Here's the replay.
The fact it's listed that as a Ferrari incident. No, Mick is being blamed for that. Oh, never mind then. Sainz is now finally pitted, at least. At least it stopped the Leclerc charge. The bigger issue there is the fact he had to wait for everyone. The 5-second time penalty I could have lived with, because if there's a safety car or something, then we could just do it during that. But they both got 20-odd% tyres still, so the fact that you have to go to the back of the field is the problem. So Doohan is the only one doing medium, hard, medium? Seems odd. Wait, Verstappen's on hards. Since when has he been on hards? Maybe you did start the race in first and just lost 3 places. Oh no, we can see that here, can't we? No, he did start 4th with a penalty. Gasly's in 3rd. Oh, Gasly's in 2nd. Because Max is pitted. So Max is doing medium, hard, medium. Wait, what? No, Max is doing hard, medium, soft. Oh, no. It was doing the pit stop thing. Max is going on to hards. So Max is doing medium, hard, medium. Because I could have sworn everyone started on mediums. Yeah, he's gone on to hards. Leclerc and Mick are still next to each other on the track. It wouldn't be the worst thing if Leclerc got past Mick, actually, and helped tow him along, back through the field a bit more. As we're still watching Max Verstappen. The one thing I've noticed on that straight there is the car with DRS doesn't position himself very well. They always sort of put themselves on the rear tyre of the car ahead rather than actually pulling out. Perez has actually made his way back up to 11th, of course. I mean, it's a wild top 10 right now, when you factor in Verstappen pitting, but Sainz and Leclerc just legitimately out of the top 10 right now. Perez out of the top 10 currently because of his incident. Russell, Bottas and Albon doing 2 stops as well, it seems. So that's very much going to break up the front bit to the point where it is actually just the front four. A lot of people doing two stops. We'll see how that works out for people in the long run. Alonso actually struggling to keep on the back of GASLY here. Go on, Pierre. Get Ocon. Hamilton might genuinely just have this race now because he's pulling out a lead here and all his rivals have sodded off. Just whether or not Hamilton on a one-stop, I presume, he's going to outdo Verstappen on a two-stop. That's the fight now. Wait, oh, Leclerc pitted as well. So Mick's temporarily back up to 9th and catching Tsunoda, at least. GASLY got Ocon, I just noticed.
This is good, come on.
When's your pit stop? Oh, it's quite a way away still.
Let's take a closer
We'll
look.
watch that because we haven't had a highlight in a while. Hang her straight, hang her straight. Fair enough. There's Hamilton.
And there they go. Incredible
Oh,
manoeuvre.
Alonso pitted. So Alonso's doing a two-stop, just went quite a bit longer on the first stint. Interesting. Oh, there's been an incident in sector 1, apparently. Has there?
You've had a car run wide.
Vettel run right on turn 40, which obviously is not for sector 1. It's not really changed anything. But Verstappen is now behind Mick, and Mick is still closing on Tsunoda and Magnussen. In fact, it could be really good news if Verstappen gets Mick on the next straight, because then that will split the difference and help Mick get through these two cars. GASLY and Ocon are just fighting. Because why not?
Good job.
Yeah. Max, just take him here. Yeah, nice as you like. GASLY and Ocon will just keep swapping places. That's not a huge issue. So actually, realistically, when you look at this now, Mick's on a one-stop. Alonso, Russell, Albon, all these cars down here are on two stops. So it's whether or not he's going to have the pace on a one-stopper versus their pace on a two-stoppers at this point is basically his one chance of points here. Of course, actually, one thing to know, of course, because of the incident, there is now enough of a gap between GASLY and Schumacher, I can't pit them on the same lap. So I don't need to worry about that anymore. Oh, I forgot about the 5-second penalty, of course. I might just allow Mick to harvest in this train. Oh, Magnussen's pitted anyway. Whilst you're ahead, GASLY, harvest, and whenever you're behind, don't harvest. So you are 3 laps out. I mean, you can because there's DRS. Not sure what to do. Because GASLY should get him back on the hanger straight, of course. Mick is still contending with Tsunoda. Oh, there's Mercedes up his backside now. Oh, Alonso got through as well. I didn't even notice that. Tsunoda got Schumacher. What? When did he get ahead of Schumacher? Sorry, when did he get ahead of Tsunoda? What happened there? Oh, he didn't actually get him on the hanger straight that time. I was trying to build up a bit of charge so I can push him on the outlaps, respectively. Ocon always goes long as well, I find, in this year's game. But it's 2 laps to go, so I think I can attack the tyres. I'll attack and harvest simultaneously, just to try and build things up a bit. See if that can get anything going. There's 2 more laps before they actually need to pit. GASLY on the hanger straight. Does get Ocon, despite harvesting. Mick's still not taking... There you go. I was about to say Mick's still not taking Tsunoda, but there we are. Ocon will get GASLY back, of course, because he's harvesting. Oh, I think I actually made them attack their tyres a lap too early, thinking about it, but never mind. Right then, so open, go on to hards. There's still another set of mediums in the background. If there's another incident later on that allows us to go back onto mediums, we can do. A lot of people going to pit, including Tsunoda. And we've got a full set of ERS as well now, going forward. Mick's got full charge, so we might as well just leave him on normal. GASLY's actually still ahead of Ocon here, remarkably. Where do you actually get the charge? Well, into the pits GASLY comes. Mick's currently in 7th, but he's about to pit as well. It's not looking good for where he's going to come out, but bear in mind, of course, everyone else is pitting again, pretty much. From Alonso downwards.
Yep.
There's plenty of time to get GASLY onto these hard tyres and out again. He's having to be held for Ocon, though, annoyingly. And Mick's at the other end. Oh, he actually came in ahead of Ocon and I had to wait for him on the outbound side, which is annoying. We lost time to Russell in the overall. Kind of feel like I can't go aggressive at all on these hards, unfortunately. Yeah, so Mick had to wait, of course, to serve that 5 seconds. It's 19th currently, but Tsunoda's there. That'll be relatively soon. Yeah, it's not gone well for Mick, unfortunately. And again, he can't really push these tyres either. But he can deploy. Deploy and push the fuel a little bit, actually, for both of you. Now you're... Close that gap up. So GASLY in 6th as things stand. Verstappen takes the lead temporarily. Verstappen, Alonso, Russell all doing 2 stoppers. So unless they build an entire pit stop on GASLY, they will end up behind him when things end. Why has he not actually saved any ERS on that lap? That's weird. Oh, it happens at the end. Okay. Mick, I need you to close up on Tsunoda. I mean, you should have better tyres on Ricardo because he pitted ages ago because he crashed. Can't get away with that anymore. But we are in a bit of a holding pattern. Oh, Gasly did get past Ocon. I didn't get a highlight for it. There it is. Bit late now. And he's done the fastest lap because, of course, he has. I'm on 30.1 on the back of Russell as well. Alonso got so much time through those pit stops. Like, he's a full 3 seconds ahead of Russell. But Russell here without DRS might get taken by both of them if they, you know, position themselves in a way that can actually get past the driver, which they don't. So
Doing a good job. Keep pushing.
overtake failed. Well, it wouldn't be failed if he actually pulled out far enough. Just sail past him. Sainz and Leclerc in the top 10, but I think both of them are doing 2 stops, so I'd be surprised if they actually stay there. Mick within almost a second of Tsunoda now, as Russell, Gasly, Ocon drive line astern through Magnussen and Beckett's. And then on the hangar straight, I can't imagine this looks good for Russell. In fact, all 3 of us are actually catching on Alonso, I do notice. Gasly's through. Is Ocon through? He is. Oh, sort of.
Nicely done.
We have gained a little bit of time on Russell here. Alonso, sorry. Well, it was a sort of 4-second gap, is now a 3-second gap. Mixing Tsunoda's DRS further down the field. Oh, Ocon managed to position himself in a way that actually got him past, temporarily. But as a unit, we are closing in on Alonso by a couple of tenths a lap, it seems. Gasly actually held that particular lap through both DRS sections. Good work from Pierre. So Mix into 18th now. Now to close in on... Well, Magnussen is the lead of a train here. But I do suspect Ocon and Russell are going to keep swapping places with Gasly for the time being until Perez joins that party, which he will do with Leclerc. Whether or not they catch before we catch Alonso is a different question, though. Any lap where there isn't a DRS overtake, we don't really gain that much time. But as soon as there's a DRS overtake, we do gain about a couple of tenths per overtake. 1.8. Leclerc's had a moment where he's back down to 13th. What a race he's had. Doohan for his second pit stop is in. Do we need to briefly pay attention to Mick here because he's in a hell of a carnage? It might be worth deploying him through this batch of cars because he's going to be losing so much time getting stuck in this. He's not really overdoing his tyres at this stage, so we kind of have to leave him normal. Get them. Oh, sector 3, there's been a moment. Who's crashed? Sainz pitting. Bottas has gone wide. Okay. Doesn't seem to have cost anyone anything. Can we make a move here, Mick? Oh, God. Sainz has just come out directly ahead of Mick. Well, that's annoying. Can't waste that now.
Got back a bit.
Yeah, Sainz has just cost Mick a lot of time there. Oh, we did actually catch Alonso up front as we were focusing on this fight down here. So Sainz, at the very least, has managed to two-stopper his way past Mick despite his own incident. Actually, I don't know if... Actually, no. Was Sainz involved? No, Sainz was involved with Ricardo at the beginning, wasn't he? Oh, so this is a problem because there's too many cars. We need Sainz to kind of break the chain a bit. Because Mick can't get himself in a good position because he just gets closed off by someone else. So he's got Stroll there, it seems. Oh, who's crashed? It says multiple cars crashed, and I genuinely cannot see anyone's crashed. Bottas into Albon? Oh, he's done what Mick did. Yeah, he's just spun. So there's a penalty to Bottas, who didn't actually lose much time, weirdly, in that. I mean, Sainz has managed to get his way through this relatively easily, which is annoying. Oh, Alonso and Russell are pitted now, which is good news for Gasly.
Yeah.
10 seconds off the lead, though, now. Oh, wait, what? Why is Gasly... Oh, I was about to say, why is Gasly 1 second behind? That made no sense. The whole batch of cars coming into the pit lane now, which could all end up behind. Zhou's decided to pit as well. Who's pitting out of Mick's train? Just Zhou. Okay, well, that's not helpful. But it does bring Mick up to 11th temporarily, as all those cars have got to work their way back through in the final 15 laps. As both our drivers still on 73% tyres and very much on track to end the race in a decent enough position. Hamilton, of course, still yet to pit again, because he will do, I think. Actually, is Hamilton on a one-stop? I think Hamilton's on a one-stop. So he's just managed to pull out 10-second lead as we've been fighting each other and Alonso. Okay, so Mick, I need you to get yourself and your car in a position to overtake this Haas. Also, importantly, I need this Haas not to be in the DRS of Sainz when we get to that point, which he is just. So everyone with DRS doesn't really help here. Perez pitting now. Back into 7th though, that's not a huge issue. Oh, Mick and Magnussen are fighting. And in fact, he's got him as well, by the looks of things. Oh, Mick's
Aston Martin with a great play there. They've moved up a place.
Well, watch
Let's
these,
take
but
a look at the replay.
I came back
Let's have a
because...
look here. This the Aston Martin.
So onto the old main straight. That's the Magnussen overtake, but by the time we get into Magnussen Becky's, he's having a look of Vettel too, which is quite remarkable. So the point by the time everyone's got DRS, they've got it on him rather than the other way around. Not the best manoeuvre from Mick there, but he is in 10th. But with a whole host of people on 2 stops that are not that far behind. Looking at Leclerc and Norris in particular. Leclerc with the fastest lap of the race as well. Gasly and Ocon are just fighting. I don't think there's much we can do there.
Good job.
In fact, I'm not really certain there's a lot we can do for the rest of the race other than sort of deploy at the right moment and reserve at the right moment. I'm not fully certain. Mick has a lot of outright pace on the Hasses, but provided he can keep them behind on DRS zones, he might be able to pull enough of a gap. Yeah, you can sort of build up about 4/10 between each DRS zone, which would be great if there was only one DRS zone. Ricciardo still needed to pit again, apparently. Then fighting behind is useful as well. How are their tyres compared to Mick's? Similar. Magnussen's are a little worse, but they're similar overall. Leclerc's joined the party. Right, please, Leclerc, just drive through and get that second immediately, please, so that Vettel doesn't have DRS. Now, Verstappen's joined myself and Esteban. I say myself. Verstappen's joined Gasly and Esteban's fight. Mick's now currently 10th again, ahead of the Hasses. Norris is now in the train on freshened mediums. I am concerned. I think Norris is going to be able to get through here. It's whether or not they can actually hold that group up long enough. And Verstappen's through, unfortunately. As we get into the latter stage of this. How are those mediums fair? The mediums are actually still quite good, which is a shame. Gasly does have enough to deploy, so we'll make sure we will deploy on the final lap, but final lap only. Oh, Vettel got Schumi there. Norris is through. That's the worst case scenario. Mick's out of the points, and I don't think there's a lot he can do about it. Norris will drop Vettel just because he's on mediums. And there we go. So next straight, Mick should get Vettel, but Doohan's coming through as well now.
I'm sorry about the spin.
Oh, he's crashed again. He did exactly what Bottas they did. Actually, it's the same corner as Bottas's.
Bitter blow for the team.
Into an AlphaTauri.
Really hurt.
Literally just did exactly what Bottas did in exactly the same place on the other AlphaTauri. Well, it's not Mick's best race, is it? Well, it's a 5-second penalty that'll get done at the end, so it doesn't really matter. Outside the points regardless.
5 to go.
Is Perez going to catch by the end of the race? No, I don't think he will do. So this is all about staying ahead of Ocon. Both our tyres are relatively shoddy. Gasly seems relatively competent at keeping Ocon behind for like 3/4 of a lap, but the fact there's 2 DRS zones is what's done him in. But they seem to be in a very similar boat. They seem to not be able to do each other on the first DRS, but... Oh, never mind. So, 2 laps to go. This is kind of most... Oh, we can actually push the fuel now because we've only got 2 laps to go with both drivers. But...
No saving required.
Final lap, we can just straight up attack as well, so it doesn't really matter who's ahead. Please don't safety car now.
Sounds like a spin.
Ricciardo's spun again. He's not had a fun race either. He's had a worse race than Mick, and that's saying something. The Alfa Romeos have had a poor time as well. They started 10th and 11th, and they're 14th, 16th. So Gasly's ahead.
With a great play there.
Might as well attack the tyres on the last lap. Might as well deploy on the last lap as well.
Last lap.
Just try and keep him behind as best as he can. He's going to have DRS to close up. Verstappen went through Gasly and Ocon and then pulled up 12 seconds. Mick's actually got the Alfa Romeos remarkably. Might as well attack the tyres. I didn't really see what happened with Mick, but he's managed to close up to the back of Magnussen again. I mean, despite the penalties and the accidents, he's actually had a bit of a blinder. He's shown real pace in the interims between the crashes. But yeah, Hamilton's had this race since the start, pretty much. It's a Silverstone victory, and pushing Gasly on the final lap has sorted that one out quite nicely. For a third for Gasly. Held on to enough charge and everything for Gasly to be third. Hamilton in Silverstone. It's a classic.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Norris with a point as well from a fairly poor start.
Take the pickup.
All 3 Brits. Yeah, all 3 Brits in the points. Hamilton first, Russell 6th. Actually, a poor race from Russell when you think about it. He started 3rd. But Norris in the points from, what was it, 19th? Or something like that. I mean, Schumacher's 5-second penalty is actually going to ruin him here. But he started quite well.
So that is checkered flag.
He got himself back up to 13th.
Very sorry about that.
Tough day.
Copy that. Just take
That 5-second penalty will annoyingly take him from 13th to 17th, but he had a decent recovery there. Oh, I didn't actually come back after a highlight, I think. Is he flying us to the stars?
Well, this weekend.
Oh, he has.
Pierre Gasly, Lewis
Oh,
to the
there's a
start.
novelty. That's not going to get tiresome. Where's everyone else? Oh, there they are. But Hamilton on the top step of Silverstone.
The Frenchman was in sublime form today, fully deserving of his podium finish here.
We'll take that. We'll take that for sure. I mean, Ocon had pace there. That's concerning going forward.
It was a hard-fought contest for
I say
all three
concerning.
drivers.
We are like 80 points clear of them.
Securing precious points for their team.
It's a shame, really, because we had a really good qualifying there. But yeah, the Ferraris managed to get themselves into the points and score minor points. Lando Norris up 9. He did start 19th. But yeah, kind of a poor showing from Perez and Russell. Kind of feel like effectively showing that the two-stopper wasn't the better strategy overall. Because Perez had a spin, I suppose, which was cost him there. But there's no real excuse for George. That's just the outright pace of the Red Bull versus the Mercedes, I think. Now, despite a spin for Perez, he still managed to get himself back up to 5th on a two-stopper. But Russell and Alonso, you can see, have massively lost out there on a two-stopper compared to Pierre and Esteban. Whereas, again, Max's outright pace is enough to reclaim a pit stop and 10 seconds, but not enough to get Hamilton, who only did a one-stopper. And as far as I'm aware, Verstappen didn't have any incidents. But yeah, poor race for Mick, unfortunately. Forgot to even bring myself back there again. So Ferrari's actually moved down into 5th and 6th, with Pierre and Lewis moving into 3rd and 4th in the draw. Pierre is 3rd. I mean, we're making 2nd interesting, aren't we? Whilst Verstappen kind of runs away with it. Can't remember who won the championship last year. Was it Leclerc? But yeah, Perez 137, Pierre 125, Lewis 118, Charles 117, Carlos Sainz 100. And then there's a bit of a gap. Mick stays in 9th because no one else really scored major points apart from Esteban Ocon, who only had 9 to begin with. Does bring Alpine up to 59 points, but we still score 15 points through Pierre Gasly, and 155 is our total. Merca, though, of course, with 2 points finishes there, 33 points, including the race win, brings them actually closer to Ferrari, and pulls out the 18 points that we got back on them last race. Exactly recovered themselves. That's Pierre's best result, and it's a development point for both drivers, actually, despite Mick's problems. Pierre made 31 successful overtakes thanks to Ocon. 31, and we did, of course, get our race sponsorship there, so that's a lovely bit of money for everyone. Useful. Okay, so it's not the point scoring one, or maybe it's the one that is in the one that can give you points changes because it's a sporting regulation, which I suppose points are. It's the one I was worried about. So it's a decision to reduce. Basically, it's the decision to skew the hours in wind tunnels more and things like that. Which honestly, actually, we're in the top half. Because it's the question about, do we further reduce the top ones? Because realistically, we're looking at 4th here. But these don't come into effect until next season. So we would probably go into next season with the current ones. And then at the end of next season is when these will come in as such. I kind of want to vote for it because it's going to make, even as we get higher up, it's going to make things more interesting. I think in the long term, it's going to make things more interesting. So I'm going to go for it. It's going to make it harder, more to the point, as we get a few more reports back about people. But it's Austria in 4 days' time. I will see you for that. Until next time, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then do give it a like, comment, and subscribe. You know the deal, algorithm. We're ruled by the algorithm. Until next time, ta-ra.